Coming up on Mountain News at 6, the Owsley County Clerk has been indicted. We'll have more about the charges she's facing. And several Eastern Kentuckians were acknowledged during Governor Andy Beshear's State of the Commonwealth address.
And enjoy the dry weather tomorrow because rain chances are on the way by this weekend. Those details coming up as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Owsley County Clerk Shanna Oliver was indicted today. WYMT's RJ Johnson has more on the charges and how one woman has dealt with issues with her for months.
Owsley County Clerk Shanna Oliver is facing charges of tampering with public records and second-degree official misconduct. The indictment says Oliver reportedly refused to deliver public records and failed to send paperwork, both instances dealing with the Kentucky Department of Vehicle Regulation. Kennedy Little says this isn't the first time the clerk's office has caused frustration.
And it's been 7 or 8 months and we still haven't received a title for that vehicle. I don't know if it's being processed and just not being produced or if it's not being sent in. I don't know what's going on, but we're not getting it. And
she says it's an inconvenience.
There is a lot going on, and I wish that they had someone or something able to be set in stone and able to do, because with the small town already that we live in, it's inconvenient, and I wish that there would be a way to get everything orderly and fixed properly. 7 months on a title is entirely too long. When I was trying to sell a car, I couldn't even sell it because I didn't have a title for it. So it's just always an inconvenient.
Little says she wants to see something done about getting the office opened.
The office needs to be cleaned up, it needs to be organized, it needs to be ran as a state office and not as, when needed. It's needed every day. It doesn't need to be ran when wanted to be ran.
In Owsley County, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Back in 2016, then Auditor Mike Harmon reported Oliver was not fulfilling her duties as a county official. And just last month, realtors were also facing issues trying to close on homes. A Johnson County man has been indicted for reportedly using technology to try and get a minor to engage in sexual contact. Last month, 48-year-old Kevin Conley was indicted by a Johnson County grand jury after trying to confirm rumors about whether or not Conley was a former educator at Johnson Central High School. We reached out to the school and received the following statement, quote, "We are aware of the allegations and the recent indictment of a former employee. Although we cannot comment publicly regarding personnel or student matters, the district is continuing to fully cooperate with Kentucky State Police and the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office throughout the duration of this case." Conley's arraignment is set for January 26th. A death investigation is underway tonight in Floyd County. State police say a man was found in the Drift community on Tuesday. He was identified as 64-year-old James Osborne of Minnie. Osborne was found outside his vehicle along Drift Hollow Road. His body was sent to the state medical examiner's office for an autopsy. We now know the name of the person's body that was found in Pike County back in November. Troopers with Kentucky State Police say the body they found belonged to 42-year-old Melissa Walford of Phelps. Troopers also say the cause of death is still being investigated. One former Eastern Kentucky sheriff's deputy has received a sentence for several charges, including rape and sodomy. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox gives us the latest on that case.
Former Letcher County Sheriff's Deputy Ben Fields was indicted on several charges, including third-degree rape, sodomy, tampering, and perjury. Fields faced Pike County Circuit Judge Eddie Coleman via Zoom, with victim Sabrina Atkins in attendance.
I recognize that Ms. Atkins is a victim in this case, but I'm also believing that the criminal justice system is a victim in this case when people behave this way.
Coleman sentenced Fields to 7 years in prison. Victim Sabrina Atkins expressed a lot of emotion.
I have just come and you see the impact this has had on me and my family. And how much this has taken time for me and my son. Here's one thing you gave me back. was knowing I was a strong, independent woman.
Fields will also be listed as a registered sex offender as a result of his actions.
You're going to do outpatient sex offender treatment, and you're not to have contact with anyone with the named victim in this case. Nothing said on the agreement.
That was Chandler Wilcox reporting. Judge Eddie Coleman also says Ben Fields is to report to the Letcher County Jail by Friday at noon.
We are still tracking a fantastic sunset across the mountains on this Thursday evening. Check out this awesome picture from our camera at Buffalo Mountain. That current temperature, though, is already cold, down to 34 degrees over in Perry County, and same story in Rowan County from I-64 at Moorhead. Also a really nice sunset. That current temperature is at freezing already at 32 degrees, down to 31 for Clintwood, 28 in Wise, 35 over in London. But as the sky continues to clear tonight, we are tracking some very cold weather, all thanks to this upper level ridge or this area of high pressure close to Chicago. We are tracking some more dry and clear weather as we go into tonight. So the big story, those temperatures are frigid as you wake up by Friday. So be sure to bring in those pets. Also protect your pipes, as most of us wake up in the lower 20s, but possibly some upper teens as you wake up and walk out the door in the morning. But some big changes by this weekend, some more showers and possibly some wintry mix in some areas. Timing out those rain chances in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, thank you, Cameron. During Governor Andy Beshear's State of the Commonwealth address, he reflected on his first 4 years as governor, and he acknowledged several Eastern Kentuckians as well, including Scott McReynolds with the Housing Development Alliance, along with a family of flood survivors. WYMT's Olivia Calfee has more.
As Governor Andy Beshear looks ahead at his next 4 years. During his State of the Commonwealth address Wednesday night, he took time to reflect on both the successes and the disasters.
We've also seen leaders in the East following the floods. Leaders like Scott McReynolds, Executive Director of the Housing Development Alliance out of Perry County.
The governor acknowledged the monumental strides the staff has made to rebuild homes after the flood. And he honored the White family alongside Scott McReynolds during the address.
William, Cheyenne, and their son Caleb were living in Troublesome Creek in Knox County. They watched as their home was washed away. But thanks to Scott and his team, as well as so many generous donors to the Flood Relief Fund, William, Cheyenne, Caleb, and their newest addition, Maggie, have their new home, and best of all, they don't have to worry about it flooding ever again. Let's thank Scott and this family for everything they're doing.
And on Thursday, McReynolds sat down and reflected on the experience, saying it was an honor being recognized for the work HDA and many other housing organizations have done to rebuild.
To kind of represent all of the flood recovery work that's going on in East Kentucky. It's great that the governor remembered, that he said all along that he's going to not forget us, and this is just another example.
And McReynolds also looked back at the growth since the flood, saying they touched a record number of new homes in 2023, 40 in total.
Now that may be finishing a home that we started in 2022, that may be a home we built from start to finish in 23, or it may be a home we just started at the end.
But there is also a lot of work to be done. With at least 200 families that either need a home repair or new home, McReynolds is hopeful a portion of the budget during this legislative session will be allocated to the housing crisis. In Perry County, Olivia Calfee, WYMT Mountain News.
For a closer look at the numbers from the Housing Development Alliance's accomplishments in 2023, just find this story on WYMT.com. Governor Beshear also highlighted the journey of an addiction recovery care employee during his State of the Commonwealth address. The governor recognized Pike County native Brad Bentley, who said his journey from addiction to becoming a program director with ARC's Crown Recovery Center exemplified the power of treatment and recovery. Governor Beshear also highlighted Kentucky's focus on addressing the opioid crisis, citing an increase in treatment beds in the last 4 years. The governor held his first Team Kentucky update of the new year earlier today. One of the topics he discussed was environmental assessments being approved for 2 high ground communities here in the mountains. Those were the sites on Chestnut Ridge and Olive Branch in Knott County. The governor also announced as of December 15th, more than 68,000 Kentuckians had enrolled for Connect's health and dental coverage. Candidate filings for the 2024 presidential election are due in Kentucky tomorrow by 4 p.m. But with Kentucky's presidential primary still months later than most other states, will the candidates already be decided come May 21st? Secretary of State Michael Adams says even if the candidates for the 2024 presidential election are decided by the time May 21st rolls around, Kentuckians still hold some power with their vote.
If we have a surprise in either party, if the Biden campaign becomes endangered by his competition, or the Trump campaign by theirs, then we'll see some candidates here.
So far, President Biden and challenger Dean Phillips are registered in Kentucky for the Democratic Party. Former governors Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, and Nikki Haley, as well as entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, are registered in Kentucky for the Republican Party in the presidential race. The governor's office released unemployment numbers for November in Kentucky. Many counties here in eastern Kentucky were at the top of the list. Magoffin and Martin were tied for the highest rate at nearly 8.5%. Other counties that were in the top 10 were Elliott, Owsley, Breathitt, Leslie, Clay, and Knott, all with at least 6%.
Well, we stay dry and cold tonight, all thanks to high pressure, but a widespread soaking is on tap by this weekend. Those details coming up. Plus,
schools are back in session after the winter break, but one Madison County school's return did not go according to plan.